Good afternoon. My name is Rosa Mendez, and I am the Director of the Office of Environmental Justice for New York's Department of Environmental Conservation. Thank you all very much for being here. DEC is committed to working with communities to address environmental threats, and particularly for communities living with historic environmental inequities. We are excited to be here today to announce the results of our air quality study and also about our continuing efforts to further environmental justice for the South End community. I'll now introduce our Commissioner, Basil Sagos.
This is a great day for a large partnership of individuals and groups who've been working to improve air quality here in Albany South End. I want to thank all of you, but really thank the Ezra Prentice community here, which has served as a home to our monitoring equipment and many of our staff now for about 2 years as we've worked through this process, and we appreciate their indulgence for our imposition. We are here to obviously announce the study, and here it is, which will be posted online today. This is the Albany South End Air Monitoring Study. From a very high-level perspective, and I think it will be no surprise to anyone standing here today, that local truck traffic is the cause, by far in a way, the largest cause of air quality concerns here at Ezra Prentice Homes. And I want to have Brian Frank come up and explain how we arrived at this determination, exactly what it means, and then what actions we're going to take. I'll get back up to the podium and talk about that.
I'm Dr. Brian Frank. I'm head of the Emissions Measurement Research Group in the Division of Air here at DEC. I'm here to tell you about the study findings and how we learned about them. We began this study in response to the community's concerns about the impact of traffic on air quality here in the South End, and specifically at Ezra Prentice as well. And the study had 5 key findings. First, we determined, as the Commissioner just mentioned, far more of the particles in the air are coming from the local traffic here rather than from port activities. And our second finding was that the majority of the traffic-related air pollutants are due to trucks, not to cars. The third thing we found is that when we looked more broadly across the South End, so we used our portable backpacks to really go across the entire South End area, and we found that the levels of traffic-related air pollutants are relatively similar for all the residents of the South End, again, with the exception of Ezra Prentice, and due to the presence of the large number of trucks. Fourth, here at Ezra Prentice, we determined that the levels of traffic-related air pollutants are higher on the eastern side of the road, which is behind me, and also closer to the roadway. And fifth and finally, we found that about 10% of the vehicles which are traveling past us are responsible for the highest 25% of the traffic-related air pollutants. The study also looked at benzene concentrations, not only here in Ezra Prentice and in the South End, but throughout the local area. And we had 2 findings from that part of the study. The first is that the benzene level in all the residential areas was relatively similar and lower to what we see within the ports of Albany and within the ports of Rensselaer. The second finding was that the benzene levels here at Ezra Prentice are lower than those at the South Albany Air Monitor, which is located in the area of Albany, which is around the Albany County Health Department building.
I want to state very clearly and repeat what the Commissioner said. Ezra Prentice is a community that's disproportionately impacted by truck pollutants. And when we started down this path, the initial concerns that were raised by the community were concerns about trains and concerns about what was happening at the port. But as we met with the community and talked more about what the challenges were, the additional challenge and the quality of life issues associated with truck traffic became apparent. And so the first thing that we did was reach out to those businesses and ask them, first of all, we showed them the impact that they were having, and we asked for voluntary compliance with changes in their truck patterns. And that resulted in a 30% reduction in truck traffic. But we know that knew that we needed to do more. And so, as the Commissioner mentioned, we have now been able to change the classification of roads within the port to make them federal aid eligible, and our goal is to create a through street within the port that would take all truck traffic off of Pearl Street. I want to thank the community for getting involved, for continuing to make their voices heard, for participating in a lot of these studies that were done. I think anytime we can have people living in the community actually participate in the work that's being done, really have that understanding of what's happening to their environment and what's happening in their neighborhood, that empowers those voices to make the decisions and push for the changes that they need and want for their community. Thank you.